his files, going mile by mile. Mad Max in the alley, random about the ghost. Everyone a puppet, can't trust the host. Sleeper agents looking coast to coast. Mad Max got the drop, toast to the most. Mad Max in the alley, random about the ghost. Everyone a puppet, can't trust the host. Sleeper agents looking coast to coast. Mad Max got the drop, toast to the most.
I won't be long, just stuffing around with a few settings. Just doing a bit of an ad hoc one today. Just testing. I won't be long and whatever. Just stuffing around with a few settings. Just doing a bit of an ad hoc one today. Just testing. I won't be long and whatever. Just stuffing around with a few settings. Just doing a bit of an ad hoc one today. Testing. I won't be long and whatever. Just stuffing around with a few settings. A bit of an ad hoc one today. Yeah, so I'll be covering all the drone, all the UFO stuff that's going on at the moment. Just throwing a video in or two. Yeah, so I'll be covering all the drone, all the UFO stuff that's going on at the moment. Just throwing a video in or two. Yeah, so I'll be covering all the drone, all the UFO. Alrighty, I'll pretty much go live in a sec. Just check volumes quick. I think that music's slightly annoying. Alright. Yeah, so today we're doing alien drone sort of stuff that's been going on, which is all pretty wacky. I started a video about 3 weeks ago about Webbot and this guy called Cliff. And yeah, Cliff Young, he made a computer AI kind of program back in like '96. Just get rid of these big things. Yeah, and so anyway, Cliff Young made this AI program and it could predict stuff. So he made it for actual stock market kind of prediction. And later on, he just tuned it into whatever. He was like, I'm going to predict everything. And he did this one, actually, I'll pull it up. I'll just throw this in the background. All right, so this video that I made, it was pretty controversial. People got pretty angry, which is always funny. I like that. But yeah, so he basically made this Webbot. And in 1997, it predicted that Trump and Joe Rogan were going to do a podcast. And after that, it was something like 39 days, there'd be an alien invasion. Well, he didn't quite say it like that, but you know, along those lines, he said that there'd be a drone war equivalent kind of thing going on. Now, being that that was so long ago, Joe Rogan wasn't even doing podcasts. He wasn't known yet, and no one was going to guess that Trump was going to be president and he was going to be talking to Joe Rogan. So Webbot prediction on that alone was pretty freaky, you know. And I look at predictions, you know, I'm like, whatever. You know, everyone can make a prediction. I'll make 10 today probably, but that doesn't mean I know what I'm talking about or that I'm right. But the interesting one that Cliff did was reasonably specific about who was going to be talking to each other, you know, who was sitting down having a podcast, and you know, pretty amazing really. It's to be able to pick something so random, you know, and say that there was going to be this alien, like, or not aliens, let's not say that. Let's say there were going to be drone wars or unidentified objects were going to be fighting in the sky. 39, just on the screen there, after Joe Rogan's interview with Donald Trump. So, you know, it's been up for a fair few weeks. That was done a while ago now, this video. I can't remember the exact date. I couldn't be bothered looking it up. It doesn't really matter. But, you know, being that that seemed really random, like say, let's call it a month ago, to post that video. I copped a fair bit of flack, which is fine. I don't mind. That's not a problem at all. I got pretty thick skin. You have to sit in front of a camera and whatever. But yeah, a lot of people are like, never going to happen. Forget it. You're an idiot. And I'm like, well, fair enough. But funnily enough, it's been happening. Now, I'm not saying it's because of the prediction or the prediction was right or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But that video I thought was pretty funny, so I just posted it. And again, the flack I copped was pretty high. So, with everyone going, it won't happen. Well, funnily enough, it kind of has. And it kind of has within the dates kind of specified. So, everyone picked on a particular date, like I think it was the 3rd of December or would be the 4th of December here in Australia. I think most things are Northern Hemisphere, everyone does Northern Hemisphere kind of dates for stuff. So, it might not have happened that exact day. And the prediction was that you were going to see stuff shot out of the sky. Well, funnily enough, like I've seen a few videos now where these orbs have taken out these drones. That's going on all over America, and it's actually happening worldwide at the moment, which is pretty weird. I've got a few videos I'll just throw in the background. Now, these videos don't really matter that they're there, but at the same time, it'll give some context to the ramblings that Mad Matt's going on about today. So, seeing like this weird orb, I'll put that video on later, but a weird orb take out this drone, and these drones aren't little drones. Like I own a little drone, a little, DJI Pro 4 thing, and it's tiny. We're talking, this big. It's absolutely crap. You put it up in a bit of wind and the thing will end up, blowing out to sea or whatever. So the drones that are going on around everywhere at the moment, they're massive. Like we're talking 6 foot and a lot larger. And the drones that are hooning around everywhere, to me, there's kind of these orbs, which kind of, well, there's a drone on screen now. That's the little normal drone that we all can buy. Legally you can buy the little ones. But what's going on at the moment are not these little drones, and the lights on them and stuff are pretty weird. So I seem to be seeing shots of UFOs, like big, weird objects that, I don't know, seem beyond our technology, but who knows? I think the Germans were playing with this stuff in the 50s, so wouldn't be super surprised if we own stuff, or the government made stuff, even the world government made stuff that looked pretty freaky and could do some pretty amazing stuff. Sure, it's amazing. SpaceX rockets that can land back, and all this stuff's quite amazing. But at the same time, there seems to be these drones everywhere with navigation lights. So they're obviously, to me, they're government owned, or someone owns them. Musk, I don't know who owns them, but at the end of the day, someone does. And to see navigation lights on a lot of these shots, like, it's kind of weird. I'm going to throw one up now. I'll just give you an example. I'll just throw someone else up in the background. Right, to me, that's like it's got navigation lights. Like, that to me doesn't appear to be a UFO as such. Navigation lights. Why would aliens have them? Who would care? Who would care? And I don't have a theory either way, really, with UFOs and that kind of stuff. Like, they could be interdimensional, crazy, not even material things, or they could just be man-made stuff. But either way, I find it really strange to see so many clips with drones turning around with navigation lights. So, all right, so summing up that, like this one on screen here, it's a pretty crappy film. I don't know why everyone's got a potato cam. Like, my phone could film stuff. I don't know what's going on. I don't know, maybe it's like third world countries filming with 20-year-old phones, but no one seems to have a steady hand either. That's not really helping the scene. So, yeah, the drones to me are anything with navigation lights is a drone, and it's man-made, because it's obviously got navigation lights so aeroplanes can see that it's there, or people on the ground can tell if their drone's facing the right way. That's what navigation lights are for. So, but then there's all these other orby things going on at the moment too, like big orange and white and blue orbs that they definitely don't have navigation lights. See, again on screen, that really crap footage of a drone. I would call that a drone because it's navigation lights. So I don't think, all of this is not, I just don't get it. There's a lot of stuff going on, and there's a lot of people, I'll just change some clips around. A lot of people carrying on, that no one knows what these are. So the government's claiming they don't have a clue. all right? But I'm seeing 3 different sorts of things in the sky. Stuff like that on screen, well, that's pretty freaky. I don't know, that doesn't look like a drone, and that doesn't look like, I don't know what that is, you know, so it's just a thing. So I'd call that a UFO. And again, I'm not really overly interested in, you know, who controls it, whether it's even real or a hologram or just a trick, you know. CGI and AI now make everything super confusing. You cannot trust anything you see anymore. So I find that pretty disappointing, really. It'd be nice, like CGI, like even my kids did CGI 10 years ago, and they could fake stuff that looked pretty real. It would fool people 10 years ago, but it wouldn't anymore. It looks like garbage. But, you know, looking at footage, you've got to kind of analyse everything that's going on and see whether it's real to your eyes or not. Because the internet's pretty fake now. It's not only censored and controlled and owned by 3 companies pretty much, which is a sad state of affairs, because I was only talking about that with the wife in the spa last night, that, you know, back in the good old days, the internet wasn't censored. You know, you didn't need to be on the dark web. The whole thing was like that originally, you know. But now, you know, I trust nothing that I see, you know, unless it's with my own eyes. And even with my own eyes, looking at weird stuff in the sky, I don't know. I couldn't explain it. I've had a couple of weird encounters, and I won't bore you to death with them today. But I had a very strange encounter with a friend. And that was different, because a lot of the time I've seen stuff that I can't explain. It's probably nothing anyway. It could be, you know, an optical illusion, you know, swamp gas, could be that. Could be, you know, a weather balloon. Could be all these things. But I've had one really good encounter, very, very close. We were in the middle of nowhere, and I was with a good mate. And it blew his brain so bad that even talking about, you know, this, what we saw with him years later, he'd rather not discuss it. So he's got that opinion that if he can't explain it, he won't talk about it anymore. Like, you know, he knows it happened. He'll admit that he was there and he saw some freaky shit. But, you know, at the same time, we don't know what we saw. So I think a lot of this is what's going on now. You know, you don't really know what you're looking at. And again, AI and CGI, like, you know, I play with it a bit, and it's quite phenomenal. Like the rubbish AI stuff on screen at the moment, I don't know what they use, what program they're using for that, but that's pretty much, you know, crap-a-roller. Obviously not real, you know. So if you are going to make stuff that's supposed to look real, we'll make it look real. But I don't mind the fact that some people make videos like this where it obviously does not look real at all, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's not supposed to. He's not kind of tricking you. So, you know, good on him for making crappy AI shit. But yeah, so with what's going on, there's, you know, a lot of comments and a lot of people have different ideas, but for no one to know, like government claiming they don't know anything at the moment, that's pretty spicy. You know, just, you'd think that they'd come out and do something or other. So I was just reading breaking news about, I don't know, 15 minutes ago. It was coming in saying Homeland States wants to shoot down the drones. So now they're saying that US Homeland Security is trying to get access to, basically, from the government to shoot everything down that they see. And, you know, maybe you might want to shoot 1 or 2 down and see what's going on. But if they shoot anything down, it'll be the droney ones. It's not going to be the weird orbs and all this other stuff that people are videoing. Like, for example, this one on screen is freaky. This is what I was talking about. If you've missed it, I'll catch you up quickly. The Cliff Young prophecy about him and Donald Trump and all this kind of crap, where the drones will have walls in the sky above our heads. Now, this video now, it's, again, bloody potato cameras. I don't know, third-world cameras. Maybe if these people spent more than $300, we'd get a clearer shot. And I know phones don't do justice to things that are far away. But you can see here, we've got a little bleeping light one. That's the drone. That's navigation lights or whatever. And if the person could just get that back in frame, that'd be great. But that orange thing is a lot larger, and it's like a big orb. So an orange orb. It's not moving. It's not got navigation lights. And now the drone goes straight down to it, goes near it. The orange thing doesn't seem to flinch. And look, there's Droney, still with his little navigation lights falling out of the sky. And that thing's a direct hit. See you, mate. What time?
8 p.m.
All right. Have a good day. Yeah, so that shot there is just one example, you know, of a drone getting attacked, basically. I'll just quickly go back to that. So you can see the orange orb. You can see the navigation lights of a normal kind of drone. It's still a big drone. It's not like little pissy ones that I own, comes in, goes near it, seems to go sideways near it, and then boom, it's gone. And the weird light changes colour and sort of sequence as it falls, so it's pretty screwed up. And that definitely hit the ground. That's a ground hit drone. So, you know, so that's pretty weird. That's pretty weird. So I know that, you know, again, talking about this is all probably government owned stuff anyway. Like look at this thing. Like this thing is about, I think they're about 4 foot tall. So this is a drone that obviously, you know, a company makes. I'm not going to advertise who they are. I don't really care who they are. But this is a pretty big drone that's managing to fold its wings up, unfold them, and fly forward really, really fast. So it's able to do a drone in a plane kind of scenario. Now, anything like that loaded up, because this is quite a large drone. It might look little on screen. I think in a sec they might show the guys who made it or the guys who are playing with it or whatever, just to get an idea of scale. But it's pretty big. It's a pretty big drone. And you could put some pretty big spotlights on that and all the rest of it. Again, there we are. So I don't know how big that is, 5 foot, 4 foot in Spazzo measurements, compared to something like that, which is obviously military-sized stuff. Yeah, so anyway, it's hard to really get anyone who knows anything about it. So we've got the Pentagon yesterday coming out saying they have no idea what it is, and they said they're not human. Now, I call BS on that. Like, how can you just sum up everything that people are filming at the moment, which is all over the world? I thought it was just mainly America, which is, you know, it's usually pretty typical that weird shit always happens in America, but nowhere else. So I don't even know how that all works. But, you know, to sum up and just say we don't know anything, well, you know, that's probably about right. Government's pretty silly. And it's so compartmentalised, you know, like there's so many sections of government, they can't work together anymore. It's all just, you know, hopeless nowadays. They just don't talk to each other. It's all deliberately done, though, to keep everyone apart so you can pull off some pretty wacky shit. Can you imagine if no one knows what your compartment's doing, you can do whatever you want and you can trick every other department and they'll just go along with whatever you say. So that's kind of, you know, how crappy everything's become. But within saying that, I just got to get the door. Bear with me. Bloody hell. Howdy, boss.
How's it going?
Good, good. I've got to be really quick. Do you need a signature?
Okay.
Cheers. Thanks kindly. Have a good day. Sorry, peoples. My kids ordered a guitar or something and it needed a signature and I knew it was coming. So there's always some bollocks to interrupt. But anyway, so back to it. Yeah, for the Pentagon to come out yesterday and say that they're not human is, I find that just a strange thing to say. Like, what do you mean it's not human? Obviously a drone is not human. So to word things so weirdly, to me, you're bullshitting. And like any government official, once you see their mouth moving, it's pretty much a lie. Like, as they're paid to tell us bollocks all the time. So within the Pentagon coming out and admitting they know nothing, and putting these, you know, airy-fairy kind of words together, which mean nothing, to me tells me that something's going on, obviously. But I would say that my prediction, I'll give you one. I reckon in a week something's going to happen. From today, what are we, in Australia, the 17th? So I reckon within a week, give it to about the 25th, there'll be an event. Now, I'm not going to say what event it will be, but there'll be an event. This will amp up. You know, it's going to amp up another notch. I think it's slow disclosure. You know, they're just feeding us little dribs and drabs. Everyone's got a phone out these days, pointing at the sky, looking for something. They've got a lot of technologies that they could obviously, I don't know, maybe make an orby-looking thing, hang up in the sky. You know, put it on a balloon and have some really powerful lights and it'll float around like an orb kind of does. The orby ones don't seem to move a great amount, so a little bit suspicious that they could be like literally big weather balloons with bloody big lights in them or something. Now I know the weird weather balloon things that were going across America and everyone blamed China for them and stuff like that. Like, you load up something like that, put some massive lights on it, it'd look pretty funky in the sky, especially with mists or clouds. Now, some other clips that, you know, have been coming in. So in the background, I'm just compiled like a compilation of clips that I've roughly collected, you know. So this clip here, someone's got a little Sony A7, and so they got pretty good night vision. Now this clip here, you can see stuff, if my big head wasn't there, you can see that, stuff taken off the ground. So they look kind of drone-y type size. They're definitely not planes. You can see by the way that they're moving, they're not planes. And if it was an airport that this guy had filmed or something like that, you'd have planes landing. But I don't see anything really. I see one that looks like it might be landing, but it's not. It's just kind of hovers away and does whatever it's doing. Very strange for an airport to have this many planes. Like, I think this is 65 times speed, so a minute's probably an hour, roughly. And these are all different sizes, they're different speeds, they move differently. So I don't think I'm looking at a airport, end of a runway, excuse me. Whatever all that stuff is taking off the ground is lots of it. So what is that? I can't really decide what that is. So I'm just quickly looking at chat. Yeah. So like I'm not 100%. Again, I'm just not sure exactly, what half the time I'm looking at, and that's the vagueness of the internet as well. Again, this could be just CGI stuff, but apparently the guy does a lot of this, so I should credit him, but I can't remember what his bloody name was, and I've got too many tabs open to go and find it, but he does this stuff all the time. So he has really good cameras, and he runs out and sticks them up at night, just night gazing. I think he's a bit of a UFO hunter kind of guy. And you see that one's more orby, but the one behind my head, like, they're sort of weird. And again, 65 times speed. So these aren't phenomenal speeds that you're seeing. They could be, just small drones. And maybe there was an event one day that was filmed and all these drones took off. I can't really, tell you exactly what I'm looking at. And again, I don't trust what I'm looking at most of the time. But what's been going on the last, say, 3 weeks has been really fishy. I've done a couple of different videos and they were a bit by chance. Like, there's always stuff going on in the sky, and I'm not a UFO freak. I don't really care. Like, there's lots of stuff you can't explain. I can't explain why people are so shit, and I can't explain why people don't have brains that seem to work anymore. That doesn't mean that I'm correct, but I know I am. So anyway, but within what's going on at the moment, I find it really interesting, not what people think's going on, because everyone's got a point of view. That's great. I got one. Everyone's got one. They're free. But the government denial of stuff seems really suspicious. Like, they just don't know. Yeah, sure. Like I said, Homeland Security now wants to shoot the drones down, so I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but if they did, it would be quite interesting to see what goes on, because it could be as simple as, these are Iranian or Russian, or they're made to look like Iranian or Russian drones, and then someone gets blamed for doing that, and then, you can spark up a war or whatever. You can do whatever you want. You can blame everyone. So I'll just see if I can get to anything that makes more sense. I'll just put this clip on in the background. So this is just a bit of a compilation of the last. It's a bit of a shame that I've kind of over-zoomed this screen a little bit. But this is over the last, say, 3 weeks, just sightings that have been compiled. So I'll just leave that one on in the background. Again, everyone's phone camera is absolutely shit at taking pictures of anything in the night sky. Even the moon, like, our phones make them look like they're doing good shots, but that's all AI stuff. Well, it's a shame our phones can't properly zoom, and that the zoom on our phones is more like an AI crappy bit of software than a real zoom. Obviously, phones don't have a big lens, so they don't have zoom capabilities. It's all digital, and the more you zoom, the crappier your phone looks. So as soon as you pull on a 50 times zoom into the night sky at some light that is, 20 kilometers away, it looks like this dodgy crap. So I don't get much out of that one. Like, again, this one doesn't, like, to me, they're navigation lights again. Like, why has it got a red and why has it got a white? Like this. So this is no UFO thing to me. That's just like a drone thing. And not forgetting, a lot of people like to copycat stuff. So we'll have a heap of people probably running around now, dressing up their drones to look weird and throwing them up there just for more confusion. And I know a lot of farmers and people too, they can have massive drones. Like, we're talking serious ones that can spray. They can hold like 40, 50 litres of poison, and they can run around spraying their things. So you can obviously, with the license to fly a bigger drone, you can get something pretty big that can haul 50 kilos. So, that's a fair bit. That's, like lifting up a small kid. So if you put an outside shell on that drone, it'd look pretty spectacular. You could make it look really weird. But what really gets my goat, I think, about a lot of this is that where are all the daytime shots? Like, why has no one got anything in daytime? Like, to me, that tells me that this is a deceptive ploy. That what's going on is to make the most fear possible is nighttime. Everyone's scared of the dark. It's scary out there. You can't tell what's going on properly. Hard to really see what you're looking at, like this. Some lights in the sky. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean shit. So being that I've seen, I think today I found with a heavy combing, I found, I think 2 different people. One of them was only a photo, it wasn't a video, of daytime, shots of any of this. So I'm highly suspicious when the drones have to sleep during the day. What are they, nocturnal now? Like, because I'm not allowed to fly, like in Australia, I'm not allowed to fly a drone at night. So if I was trying to piss off the neighbours or create a fake alien invasion myself with my drones, I got a couple, I'd get busted. The app would basically tell someone, and I live near an airbase, very close to an airbase. It'd tell someone that I'm flying my drones at night because, you've got an account and it locks to you. I'd get in trouble. I'd have the police would be around at my door probably within the hour, collecting myself and my drones. So flying at night's different. I don't know about American laws, but I would assume they're pretty much the same, that unless you're licensed to fly at night, you wouldn't be allowed to. So to think it's like normal people, I don't know. And a lot of these things are just too big. You can't buy 6-foot drones. So it smells a little bit more like, government stuff. And like the ones on screen now, like these Tic Tacs, they'll call them, they're pretty weird. But again, if it's not moving at speed, that could just be a helium balloon. I can go and buy a helium tank down the road, and I can buy some, Mevlar, kind of material, like silver material, fill it up and let it go. And when it's up there, it's going to look pretty crazy. So anything, the shots that I see during the daytime, the vehicles are always very different to what you can kind of make out other nighttime ones. So I've seen a few people do a few tricks and make UFOs, during the daytime, let them off, and like I say, just a big balloon, make it look weird, put helium in it, and once it gets up there, obviously wind currents move around a lot, so it'll go sideways at certain points. If you know how a hot air balloon works and how you navigate one, every, say 10,000 foot of air that you're going up will change direction. So if you let go of a big silver balloon in your backyard, it's not going to go straight up. It's not how it works. It'll catch different currents and it'll go left or right. And a lot of the shots that I see of these kind of weird objects, like the Tic Tac kind of big silver balls that don't have any propellers or anything, they're just a round cylinder. Yeah, I'm not really convinced that that's anything, and a lot of people filming them from things like planes gives it the illusion that it's moving, but it's probably not. It's probably just floating around, and you're going 400k an hour past it in a plane. Yeah, everything looks weird. So, I'm not here doing this live saying I know anything. I don't know what all this stuff is in the sky. I'm mainly interested because of a few videos that I did about predictions of it happening this month. I can't see. I just ad hoc. I just jumped on, did a live. If I was, more organised, I would have had a few more things on screen that I found over the last few days. But I found one that even Musk, I think it was the 22nd of September, was predicting that December we're going to see a lot of activity in the sky. Now, Musk has the weight, as in political weight. You know who his best mate is these days. They both hang around together. They seem like lovers almost. But so his best mate being soon to be all powerful, I think Musk could pretty much do whatever he wants. If he wants to put up his 6-foot drones, because he's been very quiet about his drones. Like, I don't know what company they're going under, whether it's Tesla or SpaceX, but I know they are making drones. And like most things, Musk seems to have the ability, through whatever means, to be able to make stuff better than a lot of other people and get it right pretty quick. So he's got a lot of smart people around him. I don't think it's just his intelligence, it's all the people he pays for that get a lot of his stuff done. So knowing that Musk hasn't officially released drones yet, he hasn't officially put them onto market as yet, and in September he was telling everyone, watch the skies in December. I find that pretty interesting too. I wish I could find that text. I'm trying, kind of looking. It was a tweet, and I'm not a big Twitter person. I don't really use it, but I do cruise a lot of places and see stuff. Anyway, you'll just have to believe me that he put out a tweet. Anyway, I'll look that up later if I need to. But point being that makes me slightly suspicious about Musk and drones. And again, what I'm seeing, 90% of these, see that one on the screen now is an orb. Like, that's pretty weird. This was in Mexico this year in December. So this is like, recent. And that's a big thing. But again, I don't know, could be reflections from camera lenses or something. I'm not 100% sure. The way it went behind the clouds makes me feel like it's a bit more legit than a reflection. But these weird orb things are totally different. And these weird orb things seem to be the things shooting drones out of the sky or disabling them. Because the weird part is that even the government have said they've put up their own drones, which weirdly enough, America apparently, their budget's only $500K for drones for the government. What? So only $500,000. Really? I don't believe that either, not for a second, because that's like one drone, But anyway, not really worrying about too much of the lies that they tell all day long. But like Musk being so close to someone who's basically going to be president soon, Musk admits they're making drones, their own branded drones that'll be special and awesome. This literally could be a publicity stunt. This whole thing could be a publicity stunt. And that's why the government's just not, they're saying they don't know what it is when they probably too well know that this is Musk rooting around with some drones. Now, again, I'm not saying that's what I believe. I'm just saying it's a theory. It's a concept. But the government keeps coming back saying they can't see all this activity on radar. All right, so what sort of radar? Like, there's lots of different types of radar. I'm pretty sure you'd be able to pick up this stuff on some particular kind of, radar. Maybe they're talking about the 1850s crappy first, radar. When they check that one, they can't pick all this stuff up. But they are claiming they can't see the drones or the UFOs or the orbs. So they're acting like they have no idea where they are. Now, the weird thing is lots of reports, and from the military, that these drones, or UFOs, or whatever you want to call them, have been messing around with a lot of military bases to the point where the government's had to shut down airspace over their own military bases. Again, seems really sus to me. You would just shoot that shit out of the sky, wouldn't you? Like Americans aren't known for holding back with the guns and the ammo, So to see them not seem to be caring about what's going on over their heads at the moment seems bizarre, because they all admit that this is happening. Whether it's real or not, they won't say, but they are admitting, all the military, Pentagon, everyone's coming out doing little press conferences every day at the moment, talking about what's going on at night, not during the day. I don't know, the UFOs sleep during the day apparently. They're nocturnal creatures. No one gets to see them during the day. And the few clips I have seen during the day are pretty iffy. They look pretty crappy to me. They look like a drone that's been tarted up, or possibly just some weird kind of military aircraft that filmed at a weird angle looks weird, So, but yeah, interesting that a lot of people's theory was also that they're looking for a dirty bomb. Funnily enough, I might have an article here which will let me refresh my memory. Yeah, so they're basically saying that they lost a container with nuclear material in it. Now, from what I understand, the nuclear material, and here's one, drones are looking for radioactive material, Cat3 proof. And they're saying, according to reports, in December 2024, lost in NJ, New Jersey, I'll take it, a container was found damaged with its contents missing. Now, I'm not anyone who knows everything, that's for sure. But from what I can see, Category 3 sources aren't something you would be worried about. It could just be medical waste, like, crap left over from chemo or something. Because Cat 3, from what I understand, and I'm not going to go looking it all up, but so I could be wrong. But Cat 3 isn't something to worry about. It wouldn't be a dirty bomb. And you couldn't turn a dirty bomb into Cat 3 material into one. It just wouldn't, it's not how it works. So it's kind of weird that all these leaks are coming out at the moment with stuff like that, saying, we've got a missing container full of radioactive materials that just went missing. And then, so a lot of people are putting two to two together and saying, well, maybe the drones, they are just drones and they are government. Maybe they're not American government, but someone could be looking for nuclear material, either a bomb that was smuggled in or whatever. And if memory serves me correct, I think Russia has lost about 6 backpack nukes, little ones that, you strap on your back. They probably wouldn't do much damage. A couple of blocks might get a bit of crap on them, but not like a big warhead or anything, but little backpack ones that went missing on the fall of the Soviet Union. Well, that long ago, would anything garbage like that work? Like, they probably didn't work when they first made them, let alone now. But America's lost a few little nukes as well in their time. So there is a side that I'm seeing of fear-mongering around nuclear facilities being hovered above, and the government claiming that they can't even see them above, even though people are filming it above military bases and nuclear facilities. There's been a lot of people come out in the past, like in the last 30 years, who worked at military bases or nuclear silos, who have come out and said, to lose their job for it, but they had come out and said that over the last 30 years, UFOs have turned up and shut down nuclear facilities. Well, they've shut down, nuclear silos when there was threats, or when, someone had their hand on the button that there was a possibility of letting you go, that apparently, multiple sources have done this. Again, you can look all this stuff up. I just jumped on the live. I don't have all the material to put up or whatever. I'm just having a yarn. But the different theories that are coming in seem to be, that's a pretty major one, that this could be the drones, because they do have capabilities to sniff for gamma ray and that kind of thing. So you can get attachments to put on a drone. Some drones are I can't say it, but they're made for that reason, like, military drones and stuff. So, so there is a possibility at first, I thought, because the drones seem to be going straight for nuclear facilities, army, bases and stuff like that. So yeah, all right, there's a possibility that they're looking for gamma, and obviously gamma is going to come from all different places. Like, even hospitals probably leak quite a lot with different machinery that they run for medical stuff and whatever. But so that's another theory. So that they're sniffing out a dirty bomb, which would be a bit scary, someone running around with a nuke, and that kind of thing. Or it could be other governments sussing out where all the nukes are in America, or, that kind of thing. So again, I'm not sticking with any one idea. I'm just throwing out what I've been, talking to other people about, and what other people's, ideas are on all this. So there are two. First one being Musk is involved. Second one, that they're sniffing for a dirty bomb, which would be, that's a more scary end. Out of those two, I'd hope it's the Musk one myself. Because I do find alien talk pretty nonsensical. Like, I don't follow alien stuff. It's not one of my things at all. When I was young, I used to read a lot of weirdo magazines like Nexus, New Dawn and that kind of stuff. And they'd have some really interesting articles, like not just New Age stuff, but just weird stuff, or science and technology that the media don't talk about, and things like that. Very interesting magazines back 30 years ago when the internet didn't exist. And I couldn't stand it. I got to near the end of these magazines and all they talk about is bloody aliens. And I literally rip those pages out and burn them. They're I just don't like the alien thing. It's not that I don't believe or anything. I don't have to. I just don't like it. I think it's silly. Like, in 30 years, if any of that had been right, if there were aliens like people depict them, we'd know about it. So I find it interesting, though, that within saying that, there seems to be at the moment a deliberate amount of stuff going on in the sky that someone knows what's going on, to, I think, slowly get people used to the idea that stuff's going in the sky that you don't understand. Because nothing's been, scary about it yet. Like if I was driving down the road and I saw this big blue orb, that's pretty freaky, but it doesn't really mean much to me. I don't know, like possibly even just the moon through a weird, lens flare or something. I don't know. And tarted up with, software afterwards to make it look so blue. There's a million things that I look at, and it doesn't mean shit to me. It doesn't prove anything, especially the alien talk. If I was to believe that aliens existed, they wouldn't be material. They're not going to be green little men and, all these. They're not going to look like a crocodile and be reptilian. I just don't really go for anything that silly. I think there's different dimensions more than likely, and that interdimensional beings could be a thing, like souls almost, go and making a planet like that way, that there's energy out there that we don't get. And down to the point of Google just this morning coming out with their new quantum computer, which can do what a supercomputer would take 10,000 years to do. It did it in 5 minutes. They gave it a problem to solve, and it literally did it in 5 minutes. Unsolvable problem solved. So a bit scary if you own Bitcoin to me, because that'll crack the encryption. But anyway, this new quantum computer, Google this morning, one of their guys came out and said that they are connecting to multi-universe. They didn't say aliens or anything, but they said along the lines of, see if I can actually find the direct quote. See if I can find it. Give me 1 second, because it was quite interesting. Yep. And no. I actually, I would be more active on chat. My chat window that I normally use is not coming up in my view. And again, I wasn't very well organized. So I'm really sorry if I'm not answering a lot of questions. I'm trying to fix that in the background, but I'll just get back on topic. Just let me have a little look to see whether I can quickly find what I'm looking for. Too many tabs, Comes a problem now. I bloody can't find it. Too many tabs. Anyway, all right. So the point being that I think there's so many possibilities with the universe. There's a trillion things that can be going on, and just because we're not following it or we don't understand it doesn't mean it's not real. But I think also, even our vision is very narrow and our hearing's very narrow. So a lot of things we're going to see, we're not going to understand, and you can't understand it. And I think that's the beauty of life. I think trying to, have a like Google computer, which I was talking about a second ago, that they're claiming is interdimensional. They basically said that they believe it's connecting to other dimensions, and that's how it's solving problems in 5 minutes instead of 10,000 years. So I find that pretty interesting. We're in a phase of technology that seems to be coming out of nowhere. Like a quantum computer that Google just made is insane. Like I was reading about it, and it's wow. I don't think it's good. I think it's just going to be useless. Like, what question does humankind need answered that has never been answered? I don't see they're going to be looking for what we give a shit about. Like, I think they're going to use it for purposes of their own. And being that Google originally, their whole thing was do no evil. That used to be their logo in the good old days, like, 30 years ago or whatever. And that's laughable. Seeing what Google are now, for them to own a quantum computer that basically can decrypt everything, it means that their future digital currencies that the governments are all trying to push on everyone, push her up your ass deep at the moment, this thing would be able to crack that, which means that nothing's safe anymore. A computer that's that powerful could also make weird stuff in the sky. Possible. If Google's just come out this week claiming this is a brand new computer, they just opened the box and showing us it, that's probably been around for 5 years or something. We never get to see the real stuff. And being that it works already means that it's been tested for years. They know what they're doing. They're not stupid. But we get to see it last. Almost we get to see most technology when it's broken and not good anymore. For example, our internet was from the Pentagon. So the Pentagon handed people the internet for free. That's not suspicious at all, because they had a better system. So our internet is a shit old Pentagon-owned communications device, basically, which they used for many, many years. We didn't even know it existed. And then one day they give it to us. Now, if that isn't suspicious, and if you think the internet is not there to spy on everyone, well, I don't know what to tell you. But, everything comes together. Everything makes sense. And that's why nothing's making sense. And why, people just pull out their phone and every night there's this shit in the sky. Like, I've seen Starlink, for example. A lot of people would say, that's Starlink. No, it's not. Starlink, when they launch Starlink and a satellite, you know, they launch like 30 satellites in a row, they're in a perfect row. And they have all like colour coming off them as they break through the atmosphere and whatever. These things that people have been filming are quite low. They're not very high up, which also, you know, is kind of weird. And a lot of the military footage that the Pentagon released, back in 2020, they started doing it then. And to me, they were trying to tell people UFOs or aliens exist. Again, alien's a bad word. I don't like that word. It's a silly word. But they were trying to, I think, during, you know, just before the whole world turned into a spastic centre, basically, they were trying to tell us that alien ships exist. And no one cared. Like, they put all this footage on the news, and even I watched it and went, yeah, little black dot caught by a fighter jet. The fighter jet can't keep up. But that doesn't mean anything. Like, what does that mean? But the government was the one claiming they're UFOs or UAPs or whatever they want to call them now. They change the name all the time to kind of cover themselves, because UFO means you don't know what it is. So they seem to be almost alluring the fact by changing the name of what a UFO is, that they do know more than they're saying. Again, Hitler had UFOs a long time ago, you know. They were building them. If that war kept going, the Second World War kept going for much longer, the spaceships would have been fighting the end of the war. And that sounds wacky, but it's true. Like, you can look it up. You know, and there's so many wacky things that go on these days that it's actually hard to keep up with. Like, you know, and none of it really matters. Like, I'm not hiding under my bed. I couldn't give a shit what they do. Like, you know, you got possibilities of Project Bluebeam, you know, things like that going on, where they do fake holographic stuff in the sky, and it'll freak everyone out, and it'll form a one world government, because our shitty governments won't know how to react, and we'll all plead to be saved, and suddenly they'll go, oh, look, we've got a one world government just conveniently set up for you in the back pocket over here, pretty much WEF and all the woke crap, and we'll set that up for you real quick, and we'll make the aliens go away. We'll solve the problem for you that we created, you know. So there's all these theories have been around for 30 years. So none of this is new. It just is a lot of activity now. And to me, it's not surprising. There's drones, you know. I own two. I could freak locals out by putting big lights on my drone and flying around like an idiot. Again, I'd probably get in trouble, but I also know you can hack drones. So I could fly my drones around if I wanted to, and no one would know if it was mine or whoever's. But, you know, if they could locate where it landed, you're in a problem, you know. So you might have to be kind of tricky, but you get around it, you know. Also, what I'm finding really weird is how does no one see where they're taking off from and landing? Like, what's that? Like, you know, all this great footage, always at night time for the ultimate fear factor, scary, scary boogeyman in the night sky. But surely these things are landing somewhere. Like, has no one got in their car yet and followed one? Like, if they were flying around me, that's all I'd be doing. I'd be just go drone chasing all night, because eventually they're going to run out of batteries and going to have to go home. So there's that many in the sky at the moment. They all seem very similar-ish, apart from the orby weird ones and the UFO-y looking things, that it makes less sense to me. It's almost like, knowing how censorship works these days, that it makes it look baffling to everyone. Like, they just appear in the sky and go away. Well, if they were like from a mothership or something, that would explain it. All they got to do is go up, or like a lot of the videos that I have seen. I'll throw another video on. I didn't realise that one had finished.
The world is facing some
Yeah, so, you know,
problems.
I've seen a lot of clips of, I don't know, whether they're drones or orbs or UFO-y things, whatever they are, going into the ocean. So there's been a fair few of them, which is, you know, that's interesting. Some of them look pretty legit, like they splashed and everything. And the people filming were live, so I don't know if I've caught any of those. I don't know if I've compiled any of those. Again, I just quickly went, just throw this shit up as a live. I put a few videos up on YouTube and TikTok and whatever, and, you know, TikTok, some of them moved a bit. You know, there's a bit of interest there, but I thought, you know, if I do a live, it's just easier. Making videos takes me a long time, and doing a live is dead easy. Turn on the camera and waffle on, you know, and make no sense. That's my job. That's my favourite thing to do, is talk shit. But, you know, within what's going on at the moment, there are a few other, you know, I've got a few other people who I know who have, they've got different opinions, and some of them I'm not going to say because it could actually get me flagged. So unfortunately, just, you know, due to the way things work these days, a few things I would like to say I can't, and it's even hard to code what I'm saying properly, because the powers that be, AI and everything knows what you're talking about. So yeah, so there's a few concepts that I'm not really going to go into now. I'm going to see if I'm clever enough to make this live chat work properly. Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, I'm on live chat. I would like to answer some of the questions and chat to you guys, but my thing is not cooperating. My whole stream chatty thing is not loading, which is
this event would trigger widespread panic and desperate need for solutions. People would look to their leaders for answers, making them more susceptible to manipulation.
Nah, it's not going to be nice to me.
Governments
see if I can
presenting themselves as
zoom in
protectors
here.
would offer
Don't mind me, I'm
solutions,
buggerising around. I wish that was actually on my screen, so that's the problem. I'm not on a screen that I can actually see anything with. But anyway, I should have organised myself better. That's my fault. I appreciate comments and that kind of thing, and I normally do like decoding because I really do want to see what you guys are saying. I'm going to see if I can do it a different way. Bear with me, it's annoying that it's not working.
Anonymous sources, emotional language. These are all tools.
Yeah, drones might be a cover-up. That is a very good point, Passing Traveller. I agree, because like what I'm seeing in all these videos, they're just a lot of drones and then two other kind of weird things, like weird UFO-y looking things and the orbs. So it's almost a distraction, and the drones are the things getting hammered. They go near one of these orb things, it just runs out of batteries. I've got a lot of footage of people saying they sent little drones up to go to near the bigger drones, and their drone just fell out of the sky with a dead battery that is dead forever. So a lithium destroying, you know, bigger drone or bigger orb thing. And I've seen more than one or two people saying that, so very much so. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Oh, we see on this shitty chat thing, I can't scroll backwards. I can only see a couple of you. I don't know if this is going to help me. Sorry to be screwing around in the middle of the live.
This would create fear and chaos.
But
people would then accept
it's
more.
not going to be nice to me. I don't know why. It's acting like I'm logged out even though I'm live. Like, I don't know. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I'll apologise for people who I didn't get to chat with because it is annoying. Like my favourite videos I do are decoding kind of videos. They're my absolute favourite, where you guys tell me what's going on. Because again, I'm not saying I know what's going on out there ever. And I know there's a lot of smart people around who would be able to tell me a lot more than I know. So it's just a shame I can't be with you all decoding each message that comes in. But anyway, I'm getting a little bit off track now, which doesn't overly matter because I'm just talking some stuff. Yeah, so again, I'm going to read comments after this finishes because I can then, and you know, because I do have a lot of interest in what other people are saying. A lot of the information that I'm talking here is not my information; it's from other people who are quite clever, and they do a lot of research on stuff. I like research. I get up every morning about 5 in the morning, and my house is nice and quiet. Then I got lots of kids, like, and noisy pets and stuff. So I get up at about 5 in the morning, and that's my research time. And by 7:30, I've got to get ready for kind of the job that we do, our business or whatever. But researching wacky stuff is my absolute favourite thing. But it doesn't mean I believe any of it. Like, I don't, you know, I don't. It's not that I don't believe anything. It's just that most stuff that I see is total bullshit. So it's just how it goes. It's how the world works, you know. Lies and deception seems to be the way to make money. And, you know, there's just so many things. Like the other day, I found more research on, and I'm not an American, I'm an Australian, so I don't care about Donald Trump. I don't care about your politicians. I care less about mine, because they're total fucking tits on a bull. But I don't care about politics. It's very boring. They're just thieves and criminals, all of them, and I don't like any of them. But it was really interesting because a bit of research on the Trumper, that his uncle, if I remember right, Tony,
like the Battle of Los Angeles.
His uncle worked for Tesla, you know, the 1950s Tesla, the guy who invented all the stuff we use, like basically every appliance, DC, AC. He was an absolute genius. If you don't know who I'm talking about, go and look him up. Well, near the end of his life, the government basically controlled him. And interestingly enough, Trump's uncle worked with him, and or didn't work with him as much as went through all his material. But George Bush's grandfather did. His grandfather worked with Tesla, not you know, modern day Tesla cars. Tesla as in 1800s, 1850, 1880, that kind of time period. And the guy who invented everything electric, everything we could do. He had free wireless power, he had Wi-Fi, he did everything. We just re-engineered what he knew, and he even said that he talked to demons or entities, and that's where the info came from. So pretty wacky guy. He died a pauper, of course, gave us everything, died lonely and poor. It's always the way. But George Bush's grandfather worked as a cleaner. Now, if that wasn't a CIA plan, I don't know what is. The Bushes don't go around cleaning stuff. And he would often be caught going through Tesla's inventions and patents. And to the point where Tesla actually nicknamed George Bush's grandfather Curious George. Now, Curious George might ring a bell. It's a cartoon. There's a cartoon called Curious George, which was made later on, and it's actually kind of about that situation, decoded with the monkey and all that stuff, literally pretending that, you know, George Bush's grandfather was a monkey, which probably is not far off their genetics. But anyway, that was also weird that when Tesla died, all the archives, all his patents, all his life's work, which is going to have some phenomenal stuff, anti-gravity, everything. This guy knew shit. Well, Trump's uncle was in control to go through all the documents and verify whether any of the stuff was usable or not. Now, funnily enough, Trump's uncle said, nah, it's all rubbish, none of this will work. And it all just disappeared. So, like, there's a lot of theories out there to the point of even time travel and all sorts of stuff that Tesla was working on that Trump and his family have got it for free, basically. They've got a lot of power and a lot of information, and things when you see stuff like new technology and all this stuff that happens so quickly, quantum computers, which are totally bizarre, totally friggin' bizarre. But when you see all that kind of stuff just appearing out of nowhere, and you notice who the people who have all the money, do you think it's a coincidence? Like, how's Musk worth 400 billion plus now? Like, that's insanity. Like, I know, like, when you make money, the money makes money. Like, only us fools work for money. You'll never get rich working for money. Money makes you money. That's the only way it works. So, to become properly rich. But I find it so interesting that right at the moment, Trump and Musk are hanging out heavily. We've got all this weird activity with drones going on, as Musk admits he's about to release his own series of drones. And if Musk is doing anything, they're not going to be the little ones we play with. He'll be doing big commercial ones, probably to the point where they can, you know, fly like an aeroplane and move people. Like, my guess, because I can't find any leaked stuff much yet, that, yeah, his stuff's bigger. Now, the drones we're seeing in the sky are 6 foot plus. To me, that means that, you know, you could pretty much get a person in one then. I have seen one video of a crashed one on a freeway. It got all tangled up in the kind of dividers, the kind of wires that stop the cars hitting each other. And it was big, man. It was like 10 foot. It was big. It looked like a little, you know, space shuttle kind of thing. But it was a drone, and those kind of wacky things that have been captured by people, again, I just can't trust it because of AI, but some of these clips look real because of what's going on around it, because all the other people around were filming as well, and there was a heap of police down there, and they were all standing around with their fingers in their ass because they didn't know what to do with it. So obviously they just cordon it off until the Black Ops guys come. I might even wrap this up soon, but just to mention Black Ops, I find it interesting that when the Pentagon says these are not human and they're not owls, using weird terminologies like that about what's in the sky at the moment every day, not owls, when they're that broad, when they're talking gibberish, they're kind of doing like a, you know, Nostradamus talk. They're not human and they're not owls. Well, that could mean that they are Black Ops. Then they might not be the Pentagons, but they could be Black Op, like, you know, the hidden money ventures that goes on, the people who are above FBI, CIA, or whoever else, any other alphabet people. You know, and to say they're not human, well, they're not. Like, obviously they're not. Like, a drone is not a human. So I'm just finding too much fishiness with all the kind of jargon that's being used by the Pentagon and by the government, the US government. It's so wishy-washy, and they're just denying everything. They're just saying, so instead of saying it's not real, they're just doing the we don't know. So fair enough now that they go and shoot some down. Maybe that's a good idea. So to actually get one. But what they'll shoot down are just the normal drones, which then they'll probably find you know, a Musk drone or something like that. Because to me, the only person who'd be allowed to fly anything big around like that and doing test flights would be Musk, because of the people he knows and the money he has. He can do whatever like, at the moment, Musk is never getting picked on for the pollution he creates. Like, every missile launch, can you imagine how much crap that puts into not just our lower atmosphere, but it's punching holes through the upper atmosphere. It's like, it's doing some big damage, and there's a lot of shit going on, and not to mention the junk that he, you know, the Starlink and all that stuff, that's junk, space junk, flying around. Eventually they're all going to crash into each other, just make a big friggin' mess. But he's allowed to. Like, no one asked us what we think, whether he should or shouldn't. Someone just signs off whatever he wants, and he can do whatever he wants. And a lot of the stuff he does seems to me very dangerous, like untested massive satellites and rockets taken off over populations. I don't know, like, you know, maybe there was a lot of research and stuff, but shit goes wrong all the time. And, you know, I wouldn't want to be under any of the flight paths, and we get old junk falling out of space all the time now. So Musk just seems to be off his leash. He just seems to be able to do whatever the hell he wants. And being that he's got that much money and whatever, he can. So money talks, and you know, and so we'll just see what happens. But one of my predictions would be that, again, I'm not a predictor of everything, I'm just saying, I don't reckon they're sniffing for dirty bombs or nukes. I don't reckon that's the way, because a lot of them seem to go in the same direction. Why would they keep going over the same location? Well, they've sniffed it, you'd move on, wouldn't you? You'd keep going, looking elsewhere, but they don't. They're just trolling around in circles, in places, going backwards and forwards, seem, you know, like uselessly wasting time and money. I don't know how the batteries are holding up so good. People are filming these things all night long, so I don't know, you know, but again, like, through this live I've been discussing that lithium's what we have to buy. That'd be junk. They're junk batteries. They're dangerous, and it's junky. It's a junky old technology basically already. So I know that the powers that be would have a lot better batteries than what what we deal with and what we know. And none of that's, like, I'm not into total conspiracy. These are just facts. Like, the government does stuff. Obviously, we all know that we're not allowed to know for many reasons. Mostly that it'll freak us out, and we probably don't like the idea that most of what our governments do is against us. We seem to be the enemy these days. So, you know, it's kind of interesting that just how it all works these days, that everything's been compromised. So when stupid shit happens in the sky every night, it doesn't surprise me, you know. Like, I think the more they make people look up, it's just so ironic. There's so many movies about all this sort of stuff. You know, Don't Look Up, all these movies where it's just, that's kind of what it's all about. That, you know, they want people looking up at the moment, that's obvious. So there is definitely something planned, and my guess will be within a week we're going to see something. They're either going to shoot one down, and that'll cause some controversy. They'll get to blame another country for all this stuff, whether it was or wasn't. Oh, Musk, this was just basically an ad for his new drones, and everyone will be amazed they could stay up there all night and they tricked everyone and whatever. So I'd be kind of going with that over. A lot of people are really paranoid that they're sniffing out nukes or something. I don't know. Like myself, this is how I don't really care what goes on. I don't even think nukes real. I'm not really, you know, dropping a bomb on Japan that long ago, to me that wasn't a nuke anyway, but even if it's just atomic, Japan was made out of paper. All you needed to do was throw a box of matches at that place and it would have burnt to the ground like it looked like. You know, so I just don't know. I know they've done lots of bomb tests and what they call nuclear, but every time they do it, they're always like, that's 44 tons of, TNT. Well, that's probably all it was. I don't know. Because I don't know how everyone lived in Japan after it. If that was nuclear, well, how do they live there? What's the deal, Chernobyl, apparently that was pretty bad. Well, that might be the case. There's sources of power, obviously, that, could be like that, could be dangerous, but, we're just not told. We don't know. So to assume, it's probably a bad idea. So I think I'll wrap it up and just leave it at that, keep an open mind and don't be fearful of whatever goes on. Someone's planned it all. It's, nothing's done for free. And if this is anything to do with humans doing any of this, which it kind of looks like it is, then there's always money in it, or power. So, there's a reason for all this sort of stuff going on. So, yeah, we'll see in a week if anything I said makes any sense. But I might wrap it up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the comments. I'm sorry my silly chat thing wasn't working. I would have really liked to have a lot more of you guys' input instead of me just rambling like an idiot for so long. But yeah, it's always good to be on. Thanks for being on. If you like this kind of stuff, I don't over push myself, but subscribe and do all that stuff. Because me and my wife, we're going to get on a lot more very soon. We kind of planned that next year we're going to do a lot of lives between the other businesses that we run and whatever, and build our channel, because we have a plan in our mind, and it's not just getting clicks and likes and all that kind of stuff. We have a plan that should be able to help a lot of people, health-orientated stuff. Some wacky stuff like what I do, and this is just an interest of mine, a bit of a hobby, just researching weird shit. But our channel is not just focused on silly conspiracies and all that kind of junk. We'll be doing a lot more stuff that makes sense and does something for the planet and the people than just talking, drones in the sky, it's kind of boring shit. Anyway, thanks for being on, and I hope you have a good week, and I might see you in about a week. I'll definitely come back in a week just to sum up where this went, like what happened, where did the drone thing go. Hopefully we know something more than Pentagon's, I don't know.